Okay, welcome everyone to the Wednesday, May 14th, caucus and work session of the Albany Common Council. Mr. Jimenez, please call the roll.
Adams. Present. Anane. Bowen.
Here.
Clark. Conti. Farrell.
Here.
Flynn. Frederick. Hoey is here. Johnson. Keegan.
Here.
Kimbrough. Here. Love.
Here.
Robinson. And Zamer.
Here.
You have 9 present. Also joined by City Clerk Shaniqua Jackson, Corporation Counsel Robert McGee, Research Counsel Jake Iceland, Legislative Director Brian Jimenez, and Junior Policy Analyst Alyssa Kamara.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Okay, so what we'll do is start off tonight's the night we're due to receive the budget presentation from the school district. And so what we'll do is we'll start with Superintendent Hochreiter as well as Board President. You guys and your staff, will you all come up and present? Chair.
All right.
Thank you, council members, for inviting us to present the school budget. Again, this year's budget is going to be another balancing act between providing all the different opportunities. It's been a tough year in terms of getting the budget late, but hopefully you like the budget. And this year we have a 0.9% tax levy increase, which, if you think about the meeting constantly with the state government to increase our the state aid, and the last 10 years our state aid has gone from 40 is minimal. So I'm hoping that this budget, you will announce the budget to your constituents and make sure that they come out to vote on May 20th, because especially in this climate, we need everyone to come out and exercise our right to vote. And without further ado, let me introduce our Superintendent Joseph Hochreiter to present.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you for having us here with you tonight. I'll talk swiftly, but not too fast, so you can get along with your business. I'm going to talk a little bit about the highlights of our budget, and then our business official will get into some of the numbers. As is our tradition in the district, we like to make sure that we publish our vision, mission, and goals. And we have a number of updates for everyone tonight. And here's tonight's agenda, which will end with additional information on how to vote. As you guys are aware, you can vote in person or by mail, and we'll end our presentation with some of those specifics. It's important to underscore the very, very highlight of our budget proposals, that all of our programs, all of our services that students have enjoyed in the current year will be maintained next year. Those are all academic programs, those are social emotional support programs, all of our extracurricular programs, after school clubs, Saturday programs, athletics, everything students and families enjoy today will be back next year, as our board president said, with the vision of minimizing the tax impact on residents. So we're proposing a 0.9% increase. As the board president said, that keeps us in line with an average, 10-year average of 0.08. We're also able to balance the budget by increased foundation aid from our friends across the street and some other revenue sources that we've long advocated for, and also $12.6 million of the district's reserves. As you folks are aware, that municipalities are able to have reserve funds for rainy days, and as school districts and municipalities have come off of the COVID relief funds, both from the state and federal government, a lot of municipalities, particularly school districts in the capital region, have had what they've called a fiscal cliff. We've been able to avoid that we have been able to avoid layoffs. We've been able to avoid tax increases of crooked numbers because of some multi-year financial planning, and we're able to do that again as we close this year and go into next year. The budget provides a full-day pre-K in all of our elementary schools. We have 4 magnet schools, a STEM school, humanities school, a dual language school, and the Montessori school. All of those programs will remain. We're one of the few districts in the region that has instruments in students' hands as early as 3rd grade. And we also have a partnership with community schools, which is additional funding and outside support and resources to support our families in those school communities. And perhaps most importantly, over the last number of years, is that we've seen not just in the city, but a mirror increase in population in our school district are refugee families. And our Albany International Academy newcomer program serving all students K through 12 will also remain and not be impacted in this budget. All students K through 12 will also remain and not be impacted in this budget. As I mentioned earlier, social will remain. Those include key staff by the time they graduate at the end of 12th grade. Specific programs like our marching band that you've heard a lot of that has traveled literally all over the world, any high school in the capital region. And I would also like to note that we have today more students attempting AP courses and achieving college level credit. This cost allows them to graduate early. In fact, our school board president's son will be graduating early from his undergrad degree, namely because of his experience at Albany High School. We have 11 CTE pathways in our high schools. We talk about college. It's important to talk about career as well, and certainly there's no elected body that knows more about this than you folks, that there's almost $1 billion of investment coming to the city. $400 million from the governor and another $450 million with regards to Global Foundries. So we have had a long-established CTE program in our high school that we're proud of, and we're also very excited to be building on that to make sure that today's students are aware of jobs that are going to be literally waiting for them as shovels hit the ground on that $1 billion of investment. Our theater ensemble, music program, all of our culturally relevant specific programs will also remain and supported in this budget. I'll now turn it over to Mr. Karras to get into the math and share some of the finances.
Thank you, Superintendent. So within these two pages is one chart of our expenditures from the last 2 years, the current year and the upcoming estimated year. You can see that a majority of our budget is made up of salaries and benefits to the tune of about $224 million. On this next page here, you can see where this current year budget of $326 million is increased by 4.9% for our upcoming school year to $342,360,598,000. And opposite of the expenditures, here are the revenues. As the superintendent said, our state aid has gone up a little over $10 million. We're asking for a 0.9% tax levy increase, which would also increase our taxes roughly about $1 million. Our local revenues, which include pilots, is relatively the same. And we are also adding $12.6 million out of our savings account to help offset the budget. This is the chart that Dr. Shadura was talking about, where in the last 10 years, it's a very nice chart to show where in 2016, 2017, you can see where the property taxes were about 50% of the school budget, where 42% was from state aid. For the upcoming school year, you can see that 36% of the budget is from taxes and 54% is from state aid. So that's a nice flip for the district. One thing that we had to work on this year that was a little bit more difficult, we wanted to right-size the district. So we are decreasing by about 36 positions. We're starting to slowly decrease as our enrollment is going down a little bit. None of these positions are student-facing per se without any impact for our students. One thing that we were looking at is student ratios to make sure that our students had a better ratio of students to adults. You'll see that in an upcoming slide. And roughly, we were getting about $45 million from 2021 through 2024 in COVID relief funds. Again, there's no positions that would be eliminated through layoffs. These are through vacancies or through retirements. And you'll see in the upcoming slide where the ratios are either better or remain the same for the upcoming year. So in this slide here is the right-hand column, this year's actuals to our estimated for the upcoming year. We are expecting about 300 less students for the next coming school year. On the left-hand side, you can see the different unions within the organization of the school district. You have your APSA, which is the admin union, the APSU, which is our support staff, APSA, which is our teaching union, your management confidential and cabinet, our lunch aides. And on the bottom right-hand corner is where the ratios are. So you can see in the current year for our admin union, we are 124.8 students to one adult. For next year, it's estimated to be 122 students to every adult. For our support staff, it's 14.3 students for every adult. Next year, we're looking at 13.8 students to every adult. For the teaching union, you can see that it remained the same as 8.2 students to every adult. The management confidential is 173.6 students to every adult. We're estimating for next year 167.6 students to every adult. And our lunch aid also ratio went down from 183.2 students to every adult to 176.9 students to every adult. So the tax levy history, you can see that in the last 10 years, there are 4 years of no tax levy increase. Again, the 5-year average is 0.55%. The 10-year average is 0.8%, inclusive of the 0.9% that we're asking for. If the budget is not approved, the board has, state law gives the board 3 options. We put up the same proposal for another vote. We could present a revised budget for another voter vote, or adopt a contingency budget. If a second vote also fails, or if we go straight to contingency, we would have to reduce the budget by $1.2 million. But we would be required to ask community groups to pay for building use. We would require cuts to specific areas, including to staffing and programs, and it would prohibit us from spending on student supplies. Also on the ballot, there are 2 school-related propositions on the ballot. Neither would have any impact on taxes. Proposition 2 is a ask of the community to allow us to use $5 million from our capital project reserve fund to help with our HVAC systems within the district. New Scotland, we have issues with their air conditioning system. To fix that building, it'll be about $3.6 million. For Montessori Magnet School, we have to replace 2 units there for $610,000, and Sheridan Prep replacing 1 for $820,000. Again, it's coming from our reserve fund, so it have no impact for the taxpayers or the community. Proposition 3 is to ask the community to allow us to sell a 1/10 of an acre parcel that we have. It's behind 13 Binghamton Street off of South Pearl. We have owned it but never occupied it, and there are no structures on the piece of property. We're asking the community to allow us to sell it for a minimum price of $1,000. So the Board of Education election, there are 3 candidates vying for 2 open Board of Education seats. Board President Shadar is running for re-election. Board Member Vicki Smith is not. 2 additional candidates will also be on the ballot, Edith Leet and Austin Wolfgang. There will be a virtual candidate forum this Saturday at 10 a.m. that's held by the League of Women Voters of Albany County. For more information, you could contact our District Clerk, Nakai Timmons, at 518-475-6015 with any questions. Also on the ballot, as Proposition 4, is the library's proposed 2025-26 budget with a total of $8.2 million. There are also 2 library board of trustee positions up for election. For more information on the library budget, you can visit Albany Public Election. For more information on the library budget, you can visit Albany or call Stephanie Simon at 518-708-3912. Some info for all districts. The Bethany Reformed Church is located at 760 New Scotland Ave. You can also visit our website for more information, albanyschools.org/vote, by our website, or you come to one of our locations, one of our buildings, or or the public library to get a application. We cannot send any more out because May 13th already passed, so it wouldn't make the timeline. So the best bet is to come get an application and drop it off to us. All filled ballots have to be brought back to us by May 20th by 5 p.m. to be counted. Again, if you have any questions on that, you could reach out to Nakai Timmons, our board clerk, at 518-475-6015. Our upcoming budget calendar, which you could also see any of our presentations that we've had also on our website. But also we have Thursday, May 15th, we have the Pine Hills Neighborhood Association. That's tomorrow night at the Albany Public Library Pine Hills branch, 517 Western Ave at 7 p.m. Saturday is, again, the Board of Education Candidate Forum. That's virtual. Monday, May 19th, we have a virtual Q&A as well at 9 a.m. Again, vote day is May 20th. Again, polls are open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. We'll open questions.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for a great presentation. I especially like seeing my son in one of the pictures, so that was exciting. I do have a fast question, though. On page 10 with the general revenue, we have federal aid at $3,100,000. Is there any worry about what's going on in Washington about with the the federal education department being wiped out? Will we still be able to get this money, you think?
Yeah, so this is primarily based out of our Medicaid payments that we receive for our students that do receive services that are reimbursable to the school districts. So, thanks.
Mr. Johnson?
Thank you. Just a question as I sit here and listen to this year. Did we ever purchase the Sprinter vans that we talked about last year?
We did. They're sitting up at HG right now, waiting to get registered and insured, and then we have to get a process set in place for who can and how can the vans be utilized.
Nice. And one ask that I was going to have for going forward is being responsible for attendance. And we have a lot of families that live just under 1.5. And I know we have had discussion about the Child Safety Act and things like that, is if we could start thinking about purchasing more CDTA swipers, because they are valuable to the parents when we can provide them. They help out a lot. And so if we can, figure out how to be able to grab some so they can support the many that transportation, but we always run out of them. So I'm just always trying to think of how we can knock down the barriers that exist, and especially during the winter months. The winter months are long here, so that's something that I think each school would benefit, and the kids would be in school more. So
Well, you absolutely said what we've been advocating for with the state government, because 1.5 is the cutoff at which they will reimburse us, and for going anything below that, we'll have to have a public referendum for the citizens to vote on that. We've been looking at those pricing behind the scenes, and unfortunately right now with the lack of bus drivers, and even with CDTA, they don't have enough bus drivers post-COVID, and so they're trying to work out some situations there to see what that price tag would be. Would the citizens be willing to vote on that referendum? So it was too late for this year, but maybe in future years. At the same time, could the state be considerate of that as the necessity for districts like Albany, where these unique situations exist, where everybody doesn't have 2 cars to drive their kids to school, where people are walking in roads that are covered in snow in winter, walking in roads that are covered in snow in winter, uphill. All of those challenges exist in classrooms for those students to learn. So anything that we can try,
a lot of things have changed, but when I go to other cities, you see a lot of times you see students getting on the local is in school. So when you have to travel together, you learn how to be civil. You know, it helps. So I think that us having the conversation.
Energy doing something constructive in a group setting, then, you know, it'll benefit them, their social emotional health, and as well as, you know, make sure that they stay out of other things that can be distracting.
Thank you.
Ms. Amer?
Thank you. And thank you for being here and taking the time to present to us. My question is about whether or not you've been, if you can share whether or not you've been having any conversations about the former St. Rose property and whether Plumeri Field is going to stay with Albany High, because it's been really nice for the softball and baseball team, the varsity teams, to have a regular place to practice and have games. It's really done a lot for morale.
Yeah, we've been working with Jonathan Jones on that schedule. We don't anticipate any changes there. So our kids can still enjoy the fields. In terms of St. Rose, we have been part of a number of discussions and in fact toured a few facilities. And if, I'll say publicly, we said it before, if we could work it out, and I know the county and that group is still far away from finalizing whatever the deal is and the fine print, we would love to have a presence at St. Rose. We've had our, basically every department that right now is housed at Harriet Gibbons across from Honest Weight, tour a couple different buildings at St. Rose. If we could relocate that part of our district there, which is all of our registration of new students, special education, transportation. There's a lot of parent foot traffic in that building. If that could be at St. Rose, that would eliminate a lot of barriers for families who rely on public transportation to get there. So we are very much so in the mix. We've had a number of conversations, most recently, I think it was shortly after the new year, and we were sort of told to hurry up and wait because of just some of the red tape and hurdles they had to go through. But we were very interested and very much in the mix.
That's great to hear. Thank you.
Mr. Ballard?
Thank you. So I just had a quick question. First, thank you for taking your time to be here and go through the budget with us. Appreciate it. I had a question about the fund balance. I see that how we've increased our dependency on it to balance the budget. Where are we? Do we have a number that you're willing to share where we are left in the fund balance, and how many more years can we continue to rely or have an increased reliance on it? Is it sustainable?
So after this year, we should have about $40 to $50 million left over in fund balance on top of using it to help with the upcoming school year budget. So we are pretty well set there. This is the time that we're actually starting to look at how to right-size the district. We have a lot of staff that we put in place because of the COVID funding, which was the $45 million. So as we are going back to our enrollment's going down a little bit, our revenue's going down a little bit, so we have to right-size the district, but not doing it in a way that's not strategic for the district. One thing is the ratios. The other thing is to make sure that our students still have all the services and opportunities that they have as we grow. So that's something that us as a cabinet with the superintendent and the board are working on throughout the year. It's not something that just happens during budget season. So the expectation to use fund balance to keep offsetting the budget every year is going away. It's just more of an internal work that we have to do.
So let me add that, unlike most other governmental agencies, the city school districts, small city school districts can only have about 4% of their total budget in unrestricted fund balances, but there are different other categories, like for capital reserves, for capital projects, for health insurance, or what have you. You get different criteria. And we have been strategically watching what's happening in the markets, and if there's any money left, we've been dividing into those categories, and that's our rainy day fund. So as the health insurance goes up, well, we put something in the bank just for that purpose, so we can take money from that and use it for that reason. when our HVAC systems have to be replaced, well, we have money that we socked away in the capital reserve, so we're using that money. So I think we've been prudent and fiscally responsible because, again, we are all taxpayers, right? No one wants to pay more taxes. It's hard. No one has money just lying around to keep adding to somebody's budget. So we've been very careful about putting money away where it was available. And since during COVID,
Quick question, and it is based on the fact that I will be seeing all of my children this weekend, and I had forgotten to have them fill out an absentee ballot form, which I usually have them do.
Okay, jumping back into the agenda. Just a reminder to everyone that Mondays are Youth and Government Night meeting. We're starting at 5:30 in the Rotunda. Youth and Government, where the high school kids come? Yeah. So, yeah. So that's when we're doing that. Into the agenda, under approval of meeting minutes, I will be offering the Monday, May 5th meeting minutes for approval. And moving on, as noted in your little memo here, my ordinance 2661-23 is removed from consideration. It's still in the Human Resources and Human Rights Committee. So we won't be taking that up. Under ordinances introduced, Mr. Conti's introducing ordinance 55225. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 352, Vehicle and Traffic. It's in relation to prohibiting the operation or parking of certain heavy commercial vehicles on a portion of Madison Avenue. Be referred to the Law Committee.
When we passed that for Jamel, we got a lot, I know I got a lot of calls from it. I said, I believe this is the same ordinance that we passed for over on,
No, it's different. This is operation or parking. Mr. Robinson's was parking and idling, and so they're the same but different.
well, I guess my question is, for tax-paying citizens, why should they have to pay? Why can't they park? And
No, this doesn't. This relates to, there's a provision in city code where certain heavy vehicles, it's sort of like tractor trailers, vans and things like that, can't travel on that street. So it's just meant really to prevent or the heavy-duty traffic, vehicles of 10,000 pounds or more.
you know, and like, for the life of me, I never understand how those situations are allowed, but then, you know, people who are owner-operators that pay taxes in the city can't have that same opportunity. And so that's why I was asking questions about, because I misunderstood or I misread the intent of your resolution. So again, thank you for the clarification. But, you know, that question still never gets answered because it says you can't do this, but people doing contracted work with the city are allowed to do that while they're working in those spaces.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not familiar with the specific resolution that was previously passed, but ordinarily, if you are, if a contractor is doing work on a building on that street or whatever, and they have permits or emergency no parking permits for parking there while they're doing the work, I mean, that would be permitted. Because they're not traveling, but they're directly related to an activity on the street. Whether it's, you know, renovations, repairs, building, or whatever. And they would have to have a parking permit, emergency no parking permits, in that case, for the vehicle to stay there.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's an introduction, it's going to law. So, and then next, into and onto resolutions, by Mr. Adams, we'll have resolutions 40, 52, 25R. It's a resolution honoring contributions of Capital District Chapter of National Pan-Hellenic Council and celebrating their 95th Founders Day. Do you want to say anything about? And I'd like to be a co-sponsor, so.
Yeah. So the National Pan-Hell Council is the council that represent all of the historical Black Greek fraternities and sororities in their respective areas. So for here, we have the Capital District one. They're celebrating their anniversary of, I believe, 80 years. But each organization obviously has their own area of community service they do here in the Capital District, whether it's literacy, education, you know, voter registration, all different types of events. But this year, wanted to obviously honor them because of the anniversary, but also because of the collective work that they have been doing just together over these years, where maybe in the past they have not been recognized for certain things, but with my presence and other people's presence here who are a part of Greek organizations, just wanted to make sure that we are acknowledging the work that's going on, and in my communication with them, you know, they're excited about it and look forward to coming into City Hall to receive this. So I'm hoping that everyone could be a co-sponsor to this and support it, because they do a lot of tremendous great things, and the culture and history, it speaks for itself. But again, just want to thank everyone for their support if they are signing on.
Okay, yeah, we'll be voting on that Monday at the meeting.
Are we all going to be sponsors?
Excuse me?
Can we all be sponsors? I mean,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, and then next I'll shift to Mr. Iceland for a potential MC.
So actually, I misspoke earlier. It doesn't need to be an MC, but Resolution 39 we do need on the active calendar as well. It will have slight edits to it because the current version doesn't only reflect the Senate number, and now there's an Assembly number too. So it should be ready to go on, or it should be ready to go once you guys pass it.
If I could make a recommendation on the bill language, because if you say any school purposes, my analysis and my read of that would mean that it would still have to be a school, and fourth family, which is in the memo, would not qualify for purchasing that.
Sure.
So I would highly recommend, in order to not trip up that sale, because having been down that road with the school district before, not having school there, but you could say nonprofit, youth-related, something along those lines. If you have school in there, it's going to have to go to another school. And we've seen this sale not go through to some great organizations. Boys and Girls Club was going to go there. I would love to see it go to Fourth Family. It's an amazing organization, but with this language, they would not be able to purchase it.
You know, I'm happy to take those concerns to Home Rule Council and the legislature and try to accommodate your concerns. I also have to talk to Senator Fahey's office about that as well, but happy to continue that discussion with you as well. And
yeah, just because, I mean, if we're passing this, we might as well pass it so it's done. If we know that there's a potential buyer in Fourth Family and we know that they are not a school, then it would make a lot of sense to ensure that it could be sold to a nonprofit. And it seems like it wants to go to, like they are selling to, consistently looking to a youth-related nonprofit, so I think one could even put that in there, but.
Sure. I will say, though, if we do that, it's possible that we would not be able to get, the amendments introduced by Monday, in which case we might need to do a special meeting at like a Wednesday caucus to actually approve the home rule request. But I can figure that out with you in the near future.
We could potentially do the home rule, I mean, we could do the home rule message on the legislation. We just say the bills. We don't put the bills in our legislation.
On a home rule, you have to specifically have the bill number.
They probably want the print, though. That's sort of the thing. If there's no official A print or B print at the time, these are questions that I'll have to discuss with Home Rule Council, but I'm happy to have those conversations tomorrow and give you an update on everything I hear with that.
Right, thank you, and I
You can do a special meeting at a caucus if you want, if it's a question of timing, if you do the amendment.
Right, yeah, so I will talk to everybody about that, see if we can get those changes. I definitely want everything to be as clean as possible, and happy to try and make you guys as comfortable as possible with the language, so we'll have those conversations.
Yeah, it's just something, having been down this road, where we thought, I mean, I just would hate to have it trip up in the future because Fourth Family is not a school.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that, and I completely skipped over 39. That's the home rule that we're talking about, the home rule message by Mr. Adams. So we'll be taking that up also. It's 39, 52, 25
Kelly?
under resolutions. Mr. Hoey.
I'm a little bit confused on this one. Is this that the city doesn't want to maintain a park or get rid of a park, and we're going to try to sell it, or?
No,
I think
this is the Sunshine School that the
Okay.
school district owns. So this is not, we don't need to do, this is not parkland alienation that we're doing.
Okay.
It is, we're amending parkland alienation law, I believe, it was parkland alienated in like 1954, and specifically for the school district. And now they are no longer using the building. They haven't for a while and want to be able to sell it. But it is something that's supposed to go to the public good. That's the way it was given to them. So ideally to a nonprofit.
Yeah, I got nervous because Eagle Point uses Luanello Park, which is a city park, or Sunset Park. And I got nervous, but thank you for explaining that.
Okay. And then, again, we have the memo that our staff added to our notes. It's caucus notes, and mentions we lost Reverend Collier from the CPRB. He wasn't our appointee; he was a mayoral appointee, but some of you may know him, and he's got to be replaced. But that's not our responsibility. Also, council staff is organizing the Parks Committee meeting. We got to put someone on the Monuments Commission, so we're trying to fill a seat there. As well as, lastly, Program Director Garrett Schaff for the CPRB recently started, and so he's doing the onboarding and getting going. So,
Kelly?
Mr. Hoey.
And he will be at the meeting Monday night for the council to meet him. He could have came tonight, but I didn't know if we'd have a quorum, so I figured let's wait till Monday. So he will be here Monday at 6:30. So to meet him. He could have came tonight, but I didn't know if we'd have a quorum, so I figured we'll be here Monday at 6:30.
Okay, so we'll get to meet Mr. Schaff.
Specific bill, and I plan on calling for a vote that evening on that bill. So, once that, once that bill, but please, it starts at 5 o'clock. I don't think we're going to be done until 6:30, So I don't think committee members are going to be able to be participating on union government aid. I apologize for that, but I do want to give the original bill an up and down vote at this meeting. So, yes,
Did you just invite neighborhood services? Is that the only department?
neighborhood
or
services, yes.
Not,
thank you.
not police?
I'm sorry?
No, he said
I
police.
said APD.
APD.
APD, code,
Yeah, sometimes the echo here, so, okay.
All the
Neighborhood
relevant
services,
departments.
All the relevant departments, police is there, codes, whatever, okay.
yeah, APD, codes, city clerk's office, and neighborhood community.
Great, thanks.
Mr. Holy?
Yeah, now, would there be any way that the people who are, the children that are assigned to us can sit through the committee meeting too? It might be a good opportunity. Do we offer that to them?
If I remember correctly, normally we have an event downstairs for the students, and if I remember correctly, if I remember correctly what we did in the past, we've had an event downstairs for the students, and I think we have a dinner downstairs with them.
Oh.
Always more than welcome to attend.
Yeah. Can we
I
have
wanna-
them bring up our dinner so we can eat? Well, I'm joking.
Yeah, and so thing, we're trying to give the kids something to do at